Hey everybody, welcome to Perpetual Motion, a podcast about daily life, wellness, and relationships. I'm Dr. Mo Anderson, and my goal is to help you stress less, produce more, and love the ones you're with. If you're new to my podcast, please subscribe so you'll be notified when I post a new episode. And if you hear something that inspires you or makes you smile, go ahead and hit that like button for me. In today's episode, let's talk about a Black woman's superpower.
You can't say Dr. Mo ain't tell ya that fear magnifies the consequences of failure. What are you scared of? Why are you afraid? I'd rather live like I'm dying than live to die. Any day my heart is pure, my soul is safe.
I had a really interesting time at the hospital a couple of weeks ago. Been going through a lot of challenges. It's no secret I'm a 2-time cancer survivor. I was diagnosed with GIST, gastrointestinal stromal tumor, in 2012, and again in 2014. I've become an advocate for the cause. I talk about it a lot. I speak at workshops, do YouTube videos, try to help other people through that journey. But I'm at the point now where I'm NED. That means no evidence of disease. They don't say you're cured anymore when you have cancer, any form of cancer really, because we now know that we all have cancerous cells within our bodies. Is just as so. There's bacteria there, there's fungi there, and we all have these bad boy cells that normally our immune system, cells are dividing all the time. I won't get into that. I don't want to go into nerd land, but normally our body just attacks them, destroys them, new healthy cells grow. It's a great thing, but sometimes, as in my case, that doesn't happen and the cells proliferate and tumors form. But that's not what I'm talking about today, lest I digress. I do have to go and get MRIs a couple of times a year, actually, more than other patients with different types of cancer. But I go get the MRIs. It's no big thing normally, but last time I went, they saw something, and kind of keeping an eye on it. I go in between and just get examined because this type is very fast growing. But like it's been years, and we just go, you're looking good, no evidence of disease. NED, no evidence of disease. I'm looking for a man named Ned because I've come to like that acronym so much. But this time, this was a follow-up shortly after the previous one, ultrasound. I'm saying the wrong thing. I'd had an MRI and I was going to get an ultrasound. And so I asked my son to take me because this was the first time in many, many years that we were going to look for something as opposed to going to look for the absence of anything, which was my mindset before. And they said they might do a biopsy. Yeah, I got a little anxious about it. Leading up to it, I had some difficulty sleeping, so I asked my oldest son if he'd take me. And he was like, yeah, Mom, I got you. I'll take you, whatever you need. I hate that you ever go over there by yourself. I usually don't tell them. They'll hear about it later or see me doing a check-in from there. It's been so long, so many visits. You just, wow, those of you that have had to have your family help you a lot, whether it was borrowing money or whatever way that they were providing for you, you just know at some point, I know they love you, you just don't want to ask anymore. So we get there. I was pretty quiet on the drive over, which is, you can imagine, says something in itself about my state of mind. And we went to the wrong area. We went where I normally get MRIs, and they directed us to the other department for this different type of radiology. And so she said, you can take the elevator, you can take that short flight upstairs. There were a lot of people by the elevator, And I said, well, let's just walk. My heart's kind of pounding, right? And we're walking up the stairs, and I'm just trying to think affirmative, positive thoughts, thinking about the people who, I like to listen to, who make me feel inspired and hopeful, thinking about my favorite Bible verses. But I just cannot calm myself down, because we're talking about twice cancer. I didn't think it would happen once, let alone twice. And now they're looking for more. So I break out in a sweat. My son's tall. He's taking long steps, long manly steps, and he's walking ahead of me. And I stopped. I just froze. I couldn't move anymore. Real talk, this happened. And I'm sweating, and I had my mask on. If you're listening to this archived, we might not be wearing masks anymore. I don't know when that will be, but I had my mask on because of the pandemic. And I had to take it off. Didn't have just 2 layers. It wasn't real heavy, real thick, but I could not breathe at that moment. There was no one around us in this little corridor with a few stairs up to the next floor. And I put my hand on the rail just to keep from sinking. And my son turned around, and, his eyes grew wide. He looked alarmed. He came back. He was like, Mom, what's going on? What's up? Because I'm Wonder Woman. I just come through stuff. I kick cancers, but I do this thing. I do that thing. I'm very adventurous. I go after stuff. He doesn't see worried mom very much, right? Even when he was younger, worried mom was in the bedroom, being worried. So, alone. So I said, I think I'm having an anxiety attack or a panic attack. There's a difference. I couldn't think of what the difference was right at that moment, but it was a paralyzing fear, a Kierkegaard sense of dread, however you want to go about it. I just was dreading the outcome. I was afraid. And he said, what I do you want me to go and get one of the doctors? He put his arm around me. Do you want me to go notify them? Do you want me to get help? And I said, get me up the stairs. I could see that the reception area to the other radiology area was just a short distance in front of us. I could just see the carpet where it began. And I knew that there would be a lot of people sitting in that room, because this is an oncology place, and there are a lot of people, sadly, at oncology places. And I said, I never lose my sense of humor, no matter what is going on. And I said, just get me in front of people. I said, not showing fear in front of people, specifically white people, but people in general, not showing fear is my superpower. And what a sad state of America that was something I was particularly trained in, was to not show fear, for a number of reasons that it would take an expert in Afro-American studies and systemic racism to totally help anyone understand. But I heard that a lot when I was a youth. You don't cry. You don't sweat. Remember that commercial, never let them see you sweat? African-American little girls are told that from the time they're very, very young. Whether you were getting up in front of the church to do your little Easter speech, or whether you were knocking on doors in your brownie outfit, or whatever it was, you had to be brave. You had to speak up. You didn't run away. You faced challenges head on. And I knew my friends were told this in my little neighborhood, and I knew that I was told that, and it became part of my nature. I mean, when I got into healthcare, that was easy for me. Healthcare is a profession where you cannot show your emotions. Paramedics, physicians, surgeons, you don't want to know that they're afraid, that they're tired, that they're thirsty, that they're having problems with their spouse. You want them to project confidence. Anytime I'm coming at someone with a scalpel or a syringe, you don't want to see any sign of weakness. So that was easy for me. Learning all of the anatomy and everything else, that was tough. But just looking the part, looking confident, looking like I belong, always looking like I knew what I was doing, that was easy for me, because I had to be taught that just to get along in American society, just to not have someone think I was taking some trinket tchotchke in their store, just to not have someone accost me about whether or not I belonged in the library at college, just to go into a room and command attention when it was all males, especially in healthcare, and I'm small and I'm, not very imposing physically, but to have that type of confidence that, let people know I can handle this, I belong here, I'm comfortable here, I'm in my element. So anyway, I'm old. I'm not real old, but I'm old enough. I have an AARP card, and I work that bad boy. You would think it was a black card. I pull it out everywhere. Is that American Express? Whoever has a black card, you would think it was the highest level of card you can have. The way I am forever pulling it out, just anywhere, the grocery store, filling up with my card. Do you take this card, ma'am? No, we don't offer discounts for gas. So, but here's what's interesting. Someone reminded me. I shared that story with a friend, and someone reminded me of an article. And it was very popular back in 2018. A really interesting article in HuffPost by Shante, D, the letter D, the initial D, Shante. And I don't know anything about Shante. They're not saying much about her here, but she wrote a heck of an article that I had forgotten, but it just let me know that this experience has not changed a lot. She seems to be much younger than I am, but she begins by saying in this article, it was titled, I'll drop a link to it, "I'm exhausted from trying to be the right kind of black girl at work." And she begins it by saying, "Much of my experience as a black woman has been learning to survive in white spaces. I'm looking forward to a time when that's not much of my experience, much of anyone's experience. I'm looking forward to a time when we really can be a stew with a lot of wonderful, unique, different sights and sounds and taste. A stew does have sound if you cook it right. And we're not there yet." So in her article, one of the things she does is she had a mental list. I'm reading from her article here online. She says, "Conversations at work were more about my hair and clothes than the job." Been there. "I became the spokesperson for the black community, and that is such a weight. No one of any ethnicity should have to speak for their entire community, and diversity in the office." Here it is, 2021, and a lot of companies still don't have African Americans in any executive offices or an ERG for them, and a diversity and inclusion group. And if you've got thousands of employees and a single digit percentage of them are of a particular ethnicity, whatever it might be, if they want an employee resource group, I'm just giving you that little tip for free to help your company. Go ahead and let them form one and support it. So she has her mental list of things that she shouldn't do, wear, or say at work. And number one is wear your natural curls, but not too big, so you don't bring too much attention to your fro. I have a fro. I don't worry about that one. Number 2, don't wear your hair in too low buns anymore, because last time you did, someone grabbed them and called you a Powerpuff Girl in a meeting. That's a horrible thing to do, but that's funny. And I'll skip on down to number 6, where she says, well, let's go to number 5. Do not be soft-spoken when you speak, not too firm or harsh. And number 6, don't show any emotions, especially anger or irritation. Don't show any emotions. So it's not a healthcare thing. It's not a generation thing. It's an American thing. We need to work on that. We need to work on calling women angry black women. Let's try to find out what they might be upset about, because everyone gets upset, but we get called angry black women. We learn to suppress our feelings, and often we have legitimate concerns. There are legitimate problems, legitimate issues that need to be addressed at that organization, at that company, in that household. But the focus is on us reacting to a toxic environment, and not on the environment to the point that we stop showing fear. Do we really? You know what? Fear saves us. Fear should be a signal that somebody needs to come help us. Fear is natural. Do we really want our little girls to not behave in a natural way to suppress those emotions? Because you can't stop having them. You just stop showing them. And that leads to mental health issues. It leads to illness. It leads to just breakdowns. It leads to problems with relationships. There's so many things that result from not being able to express how you feel when it's appropriate. So I'm looking for that to end, because that's a disease. That's a disease. That's the new NED we should be looking for. No evidence of disease. That is a disease. It's attacking women for having emotions, attacking women for crying. We know that's a natural result of hormone production when we're under stress. Just let's start going in on the girls. And when they have emotions, when men are angry, it's okay. You know, he's just blowing off a little steam. Well, when women are angry, they're just blowing off a little steam too. And when they're afraid, that's normal. And when they're brave, that's a good thing too. So, out of all of this, I just want to say, find someone to talk to. Find someone to support you. Find someone you can be yourself with. That was the great gift of that day. That was the great gift of that day, that my son recognized that I was anxious. He said comforting words, and he helped me get back to a place of strength naturally, and we had a little chuckle about it. And I hope that you have a safe space you can go to, a safe, toxic-free zone where there is no evidence of disease. Hey, thank you for listening to Perpetual Motion with Dr. Mo Anderson, your host. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please subscribe, like, and leave a rating. If you share this episode to social media, remember to tag me at Dr. Mo A. Now go, renew, review, and re-you. Thank you.